At the edge of the ancient world, in the realm of gods and monsters, there existed a story so dark, so tragic, that even the gods themselves shuddered to speak of it. This is the tale of Medusa, the Gorgon, whose fate would forever change the landscape of Greek mythology. But what if the truth behind her transformation into a monster was more complicated than we have been led to believe? What if Medusa was once just like us? It begins with her beauty, a beauty that rivaled the splendor of the dawn. Medusa, once a mortal woman, was renowned for her stunning looks, her radiant hair that shone like threads of gold under the sun. Her face was like a living work of art, sculpted by the gods themselves, and her beauty was unmatched in all the lands of ancient Greece. The whispers of her allure traveled far and wide, even reaching the ears of the mighty sea god Poseidon. But beauty can be a double-edged sword, and Medusa's life would soon spiral into a nightmare when Poseidon, in his lust and desire, laid eyes upon her. In the sanctuary of Athena's temple, amidst the hallowed grounds where even the gods tread lightly, Poseidon took Medusa by force. It was an act that shattered the sanctity of the temple and forever altered the course of her life. But in the aftermath, Medusa was not the one to be blamed. No, instead it was she who would bear the punishment for a crime that wasn't hers. The gods, in their infinite power and cruelty, turned on Medusa. Athena, enraged by the desecration of her temple, stripped Medusa of her beauty, transforming her into something unrecognizable, a creature of horror. Her golden locks were turned into writhing serpents, and her once beautiful face became a twisted mask of rage. Her eyes, once capable of enchanting and captivating, became cursed, for a single gaze would turn any living being to stone. But the most horrifying transformation was yet to come. Medusa became an outcast, banished to a desolate island, far from the world of men and gods. For years, she lived in solitude, hiding from the world that had once adored her. Medusa was no longer the woman she had once been. She was a monster, something to be feared, a being that was neither alive nor dead. Yet, in the quiet of her exile, one question gnawed at her soul. Why had this fate been forced upon her? As the years wore on, Medusa's legend grew. Whispers spread of her terrible gaze and her grotesque appearance, and soon the very name Medusa was enough to send shivers down the spines of those who heard it. Some believed she was a demon, others claimed she was the embodiment of vengeance itself. But in reality, Medusa was nothing more than a broken soul, a victim of the gods' cruelty. One day, a hero named Perseus arrived on the shores of her island. He had been tasked with a seemingly impossible mission to slay the Gorgon and bring back her head as a trophy. The gods, ever the manipulators, had granted him powerful gifts for his journey. A reflective shield from Athena, a sword forged by Hephaestus, and a helmet of invisibility from Hades. But little did Perseus know that his journey would not just be one of triumph, but one of regret and sorrow. Perseus ventured deep into the heart of the island, guided by the tales of those who had seen Medusa's petrified victims. The further he ventured, the more the air seemed to thicken with dread. Each step he took brought him closer to the cursed Gorgon, whose gaze could turn a man to stone. But Perseus, armed with the shield of Athena, did not need to look directly at her. Instead, he used the shield as a mirror to navigate the labyrinth of her lair. The moment came when Medusa, with her serpentine hair hissing in anger, appeared before him. She was a vision of rage and sorrow, her eyes empty yet full of pain. Perseus, seeing her reflection in the shield, did not meet her gaze. But Medusa saw him, not through her eyes, but through her cursed knowledge, a sense that death was near. In that fleeting moment, the truth became clear. Medusa was no monster. She was a woman trapped in a nightmare she never asked for, a nightmare that would only end with death. And so Perseus struck. The sword of Hephaestus cleaved through Medusa's neck with swift precision, ending her life in an instant. The curse was broken, but at what cost? As Medusa's blood spilled across the earth, two things happened. The birth of Pegasus, the majestic winged horse, and Chrysaor, a mighty warrior. Both were born from the blood of Medusa, symbolizing that even in death, she was not truly gone. Her legacy would live on, yet the question remains, was Medusa a monster or a victim of the gods' wrath? The answer lies not in the gaze of her stone-cold eyes, but in the story of a woman who was punished for something that was never her fault. A woman who was once beautiful, once loved, and once human. Medusa's fate is a reminder of the fragility, of beauty, of the cruelty of those who hold power, and of the price one must pay for being caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. But in the end, Medusa's story is not just about the gods or the heroes who sought to kill her. It is about the tragedy of a woman who was lost to time, her name forever etched into the annals of history as a monster, when in truth she was a protagonist of her own story, a protagonist who never had the chance to tell it.